What's a YouTube channel without a little controversy once in a while? I pretty much avoided it. I tried to a couple of times. I've had a little scuff up, but this thing recently with Melinda Murphy's fabulous channel and her Purple Rain review just blew my mind. If you don't know about it, go over to her channel and watch one of her Purple Rain videos. Please. I mean, Melinda is like the most earnest, straightforward, honest person that I can think of in the vinyl community. She's built a loyal following of people that respect her opinions. But her opinion didn't jive with a couple of people on the Purple Rain one step. And it stirred up quite a controversy. But I'm here to tell you that neither Melinda nor I pretend to be anything more than an opinion, a personality on YouTube with an opinion. And we've built up a loyal following because people respect our opinions. They may not always jive with their own, but they still feel like watching us because we are honest and we are earnest about our opinions. Melinda, just keep doing what you're doing, girl. You're doing a fabulous job, okay? I love you, and most of the world does too, so I wouldn't even let it affect you at all. Let's move on to my controversial opinion. Tango in the Night, Fleetwood Mac. The Rhino Reserve has just come out. I bought it a couple of weeks ago. It is by my favorite mastering engineer, Matt Lutthans, and it was cut at the mastering lab, I guess from an analog tape this time. I got it a couple weeks ago. I played it. I was like on the phone immediately with my friend Osvaldo. I said, Osvaldo, you've got to hear this. Now, I didn't have any other copies. I've never owned the record before. I'm familiar, intimately familiar with 4 of the cuts, the hits. I had them on a CD. I've heard them on the radio dozens and dozens of times, hundreds probably. It was a platinum selling album. So I loved what I heard. And I did note that it was cut low, and I did note that it had a darker sound than I remembered. I remember the CDs and the radio play to be very like 80s studio glossy, you know, glossy, shiny, kind of, yeah, like that. This wasn't like that. And I was so pleased with what I heard that I decided to arrange a shootout at Osvaldo's place, Let There Be Sound, on a $100,000 plus system. I think the speakers are over 100,000 by themselves. So I invited my friend John Double there. There was 3 experienced listeners. We had an all-day listening session with all kinds of stuff. Great albums. Many copies of great albums. And it was so much fun. We snuck Tango in the Night in there. And we listened to the Rhino Reserve, the Mobile Fidelity, and an original. At the end of the day, we were cleaning up and everything. And I said, guys, what was the highlight of the day? What was the standout? And each of them said, Tango in the Night, Rhino Reserve, no question about it. And it was up against a lot of heavy competition. Yeah, the Buckingham Nicks reissue, we did 4 copies. We did Fleetwood Mac. We did Santana Abraxas. We did Led Zeppelin 2 RL. We did a lot of things, but everyone was very, very impressed with this new cut by Matt Lutthans. So let me tell you a little bit about this. The original cut that John brought is direct metal mastered. Now, I went down the direct metal mastered rabbit hole. And apparently, the signal has to be digital before it goes to this analog process to create the DMM master copper disc. In essence, it's kind of like a one-step. It eliminates a step. And it was popular at the very tail end of the, the vinyl era when CDs were taking over. So there were about, 30 machines or 30 setups to do DMM throughout the world. And slowly, as CD took over, they started converting those to regular analog lacquer type lathes. And DMM was a thing of the past. There's only like 1 or 2 companies doing it in the world now. One of the criticisms of DMM is that the transients are sharper and clearer. And combined with this production, which has a lot of 80s studio gloss, it was a bit edgy on the original pressing. Exciting, but a bit edgy. I found that it got fatiguing when turned up. It was quiet, it was nice in that respect. It was very detailed, but the transients and leading edges of things just were a little too much for my taste and for the taste of the people at the Shootout. We actually started with the Rhino Reserve. Normally we went like from the oldest release to the newest, but in this case, the newest ones, the older ones weren't cleaned yet, so they were being cleaned. I said, let's put on the new Rhino Reserve. I sat next to Oswaldo. John was behind me. Within, I'd say 10 seconds, I can tell immediately if Oswaldo is engaged. And he was like, holy shit, this sounds freaking amazing. We had it cranked. And that's one thing about this record is it's cut low. You really have to crank it for it to come to life. But when you do, it doesn't fall apart. It just gets better and better. Layers and layers of depth, beautiful imaging, wide soundstage, no harsh edges. And this is something that I think people that are married to the original cut will notice, is they'll feel like there's a blanket thrown over it. For me, I didn't see it that way because I wasn't used to that before. This was my first proper exposure to it, and I thought it sounded warm, lush, analog with just enough detail, beautiful power, really striking in the way the production unravels. It's thrilling. The vocals sound wonderful. On Seven Wonders, oh gosh, Stevie Nicks was giving me chills. And I got a little scuff up. Yeah, so we loved the Rhino Reserve, loved it. We went then to the original, and everything that I said there, kind of a shiny, shimmery kind of gloss on everything, a little fatiguing when it gets up there in higher volumes. It's not pleasant. Really busy, like choruses get blurry and confused because there's so much going on, and it's so bright that I didn't like it. I didn't like the original at all. We then put on the Mobile Fidelity 45, and that was like a refined version of the original. Had the same type of sound, but a little bit more bearable, a little more refined, bigger sound. The 45 gave it a little more, but, and I can see why some people might like the Mobile Fidelity over the new one. If you're used to that original gloss on this record, then you will miss it on the Rhino Reserve. However, for me, I think the Rhino Reserve wipes the floor with everything else. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. If I were to have all three in front of me, which I do actually, this is the original, this is the Mobile Fidelity. No question I would choose this one, the Rhino Reserve. And for what it costs, I think is it $27 maybe? You have no reason not to try it. Analog mastering, I believe it's the first time it's cut from an analog tape. Both of these other ones are digital, or at least digital somewhere in the process. Mastered on Doug Sachs Mastering Lab tube equipment. So that's another plus in its favor. And I think all these things combined with Matt Lutthans' innate taste in mastering and the decisions he made on this make this a very beautiful record, finally. That is my opinion on this. I'll get ready for some slings and arrows. That's okay. It's all right if we differ in opinion about this. Please let me know in the comments. And until next time, I'm Scott for the Pressing Matters. Have a great day.